If you've been trying to become a cloud engineer for the last few months, or even maybe for the last few years, and you're still not in a cloud engineer role or a cloud role, I'm going to tell you exactly why. And it's probably not really what you think. It's not because cloud is dead. It's not because AI took all the jobs. It's not because you are too old. It's not because you don't have a computer science degree. It's not because you're not smart enough. And for most of you, it's not even because you don't know what to learn. Because let's be honest, you already know some of it. You know you need AWS. You know you need networking. You know you need Linux. You know you need projects. You know you need a CV. You know you need LinkedIn. You know you need to apply. You know you need to be practicing for interviews. You've probably watched a lot of my YouTube videos for my main channel of over 185,000 subscribers, and you know the roadmap by now, right? So the real question is not, what do I need to learn? The real question is, why haven't you actually become the person who does the work? And that's the uncomfortable part, because most people don't fail to become cloud engineers because the information isn't available. The information is everywhere. There's actually an overwhelming amount of information. The problem is that people watch the video, they watch the content, they understand it, they maybe even write it down, then they go back to the exact same life. The same job, the same routine, the same salary, the same frustration, the same I'll start properly next week, the same I just need one more cert, the same I don't feel ready, the same the market is bad, the same I'll apply when I feel confident. And 6 months later, 1 year later, nothing has changed. So in this video, I want to break down exactly why you're still not a cloud engineer in 2026. Not from just a theory perspective, but actually from a real perspective. The mindset, the fear, the procrastination, the certification trap, the tutorial trap, the rejection avoidance, the reason that you keep researching instead of actually acting. And most importantly, what you need to do differently if you actually want this to happen. Because learning cloud is not the goal. Becoming hireable is the goal. And becoming hireable requires you to stop behaving like someone who's just interested in cloud and start behaving like someone who's actually becoming a cloud engineer. So the first reason that you're still not a cloud engineer is because you are in observer mode. You watch the cloud content, you save the roadmaps, you listen to the advice, you take some notes. You might feel motivated after watching a video, but nothing actually happens. Your GitHub doesn't change, your CV doesn't change, your LinkedIn doesn't change, your projects don't change, your application don't change, your interview answers don't change, your calendar doesn't change. And if those things don't change, then your career won't change either. Because this is the biggest gap between people who win and people who stay stuck. Successful people don't just consume information, they implement it. They take one thing and they use it. They build the project, they rewrite the CV, they apply, they get feedback, they fix what's broken, they practice the interview answers, they put themselves in uncomfortable situations. The people who stay stuck, they just keep collecting information. They book a call with one boot camp to the other boot camp, compare this, compare to that, blah, 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 right? And collecting information feels good. It feels safe. It feels productive. It gives you the little bit of feeling that, I am doing something for this. But most of the time, you're not actually doing the thing that creates the result. You're just staying close enough to the goal to feel like you haven't given up. And that's the trap, because you're not actually becoming a cloud engineer here, right? You're watching other people explain cloud engineering, and those are not the same thing. The second reason that you're still not a cloud engineer is because the certs feel safer than rejection. And listen, I am not anti-cert. I've actually got my own AI certification platform, studytech.ai. So if you're doing AWS certifications, check it out as well. So AWS certifications can be very useful, right? They give you structure. They help you learn the language of AWS. They show you the services. They force you to study. That's all really good. But for a lot of people, certification become a hiding place because studying for a cert feels safe. No recruiter can reject you while you're studying. No hiring manager can judge your project while you're studying. No interviewer can expose your gaps while you're studying. No one can tell that your CV is weak while you're studying for a cert. You are protected. You get to tell yourself, I am preparing. And preparing is important, but preparing can also become avoidance. And at some point, another certification is not the answer. At some point, another Udemy course is not the answer. At some point, another practice exam is not the answer, because the market is not hiring you for passing exams. The market is hiring you because it believes that you can solve cloud problems. And that requires proof. It requires build proof, project proof, judgment proof, communication proof, interview proof. Certs can help you build the knowledge, but they don't automatically create the trust. And hiring is trust because a company is asking, can I trust this person near our infrastructure? They're not asking, can this person remember which S3 storage class is the cheapest? And that's a big difference. So your cert is not useless. It's just incomplete on its own. Now, the third reason that you're still not a cloud engineer is because tutorial projects protect you from being tested. When you follow a tutorial, the path is already laid out for you. Click here, type this, copy this, paste that, right? Deploy this. And when it works, you feel like, great, I've built something. But here's the problem. You didn't really make any decisions when you were building that project. You followed decisions someone else already made for you. You didn't decide why EC2 over Lambda. You didn't decide why RDS instead of DynamoDB. You didn't decide why public subnet here and private subnet there. You didn't decide the permissions. You didn't decide what should happen if the application goes down. You didn't decide anything. You just followed instructions. And again, there is nothing wrong with tutorials at the beginning. You need to learn them to build the familiarity. But if you stay there, you become a tutorial follower and you don't become an engineer. An engineer can look at a problem and think. A tutorial follower waits for instructions. And this is why so many people just freeze in interviews. They've built the projects, but when someone asks them, why did you build it in that way? Their mind goes blank because a tutorial never forced them to answer why. And in cloud engineering, the why is everything. Why this service? Why this architecture? Why this security rule? Why this trade-off? Why this deployment pattern? That's what makes you like a real engineer and sound like an engineer. Not the fact that you can name the services. Anyone can name services. Very few beginners can explain decisions. Now, the fourth reason that you're still not a cloud engineer is because you are scared to find out that you are not ready. And this one is very deep, right? A lot of people say, I'm not applying yet because I need to learn more. Sometimes that is true, but a lot of the time, that's not a real reason. The real reason is that you are scared. You're scared to apply and get ignored. You're scared to get an interview and you freeze. You're scared someone will ask you a basic question and expose you. You're scared your projects aren't good enough. You're scared your CV is weak. You're scared that even after months of learning, the market still may say no. So instead of being tested, you stay in preparation mode because preparation mode feels very safe because as long as you're still learning, you don't have to face the feedback. But the feedback is actually the thing that makes you better. Rejection is not the enemy here, right? Vague learning is the enemy because rejection actually gives you data. No interviews means your CV, project, positioning, or role targeting probably needs a little bit more work. Failed interviews means that your explanation, your depth, and confidence need work. Getting stuck on projects means that your fundamentals need work. That's all useful. But if you avoid being tested, you don't get any data from the market. You just keep guessing. And guessing is how people will lose years of their time. The fifth reason why you're still not a cloud engineer is because your current life might just be enough to trap you. Now, this is one of the biggest things that I see. People tell themselves that my job is fine. It pays the bills. It's not that bad. I could keep doing this, right? But when you actually ask them, do you want to do this for another 10 years? The answer is no. That's a very, very dangerous place to be in because a job that you hate will force you to move, but a job that you can tolerate can steal years from you because it gives you just enough comfort to avoid making change because you don't love it, but you don't also hate it enough to do something drastic. You're bored, but not desperate. You're underpaid, but surviving. You're unfulfilled, but comfortable. You're tired of it, but familiar with it. And familiarity is very powerful, but it keeps a lot of people stuck. And this is why people wake up 5 years later and they're still in the same place. Same role, same salary, same frustration, right? But nothing has changed. Same, I should really do something about this, but nothing has changed. And that's not because they were incapable, it's because the pain was never turned into action, right? And this is why I always say, if you're not happy with where you are right now, you have to stop negotiating with it because the next 6 months are going to pass whether you move and take action or not. The next year is going to pass whether you build the skill sets or not. The only question is, when you look back, will anything actually look any different? Now, the sixth reason why you're still not a cloud engineer is because you're waiting to feel confident before you act. You're waiting to feel ready before you apply. Ready to post your project, ready to reach out to recruiters, ready to do mock interviews, ready to call yourself a cloud engineer. The confidence does not come before taking action. Confidence comes from evidence, and evidence comes from doing. You build a project, you fix what broke, you get feedback, you explain it out loud, you improve it, you apply, you get rejected, you improve the CV, you get the interview, you mess up, you practice, you get better, right? And that is how confidence is actually built. It's not built by waiting. Waiting does not create the confidence. Waiting creates more fear. Because the longer that you avoid the thing, the bigger it becomes in your head. Cloud engineering interviews feel terrifying when you've never practiced a single one. Applications feel terrifying when you've never sent them properly. Posting on LinkedIn feels terrifying when you've never shown your work. But once you do it enough times, the fear just drops, right? Not because the thing became easy, it's because you became familiar with it. And that's why people who win are not usually the smartest. They just get in the more reps. They expose themselves to get feedback faster. They stop treating discomfort as a sign to stop. They treat it as part of the process. Now, the seventh reason that you're still not a cloud engineer is because you don't have a proof stack. A proof stack is what makes the market believe you. It's not just one thing. It's multiple layers. It's knowledge proof, build proof, judgment proof, packaging proof, visibility proof, interview proof. Knowledge proof is your understanding. And certs can help here. Build proof is your projects. What have you actually built? Judgment proof is your decision making. Why did you build it in that way? Packaging proof is your CV, your GitHub, and your LinkedIn. Can someone quickly understand your value? Visibility proof is showing your work. Can the market see you? Interview proof is your ability to explain under pressure. Can you communicate your thinking? Now, most people only have one of these layers. They have the knowledge proof, maybe a cert, maybe some notes, maybe some videos they've watched, but they don't have the rest. So when they apply, the market doesn't trust them and they think, I need another CV, I need another certification. No, you don't need another cert. You need the rest of the stack. You need projects that show you real decisions. You need documentation. You need architecture. You need CV that sells the outcomes and not just the tools. You need to practice explaining your projects. You need to apply properly. This is what creates proof. The market does not reward the effort. The market rewards the proof. Now, the eighth reason that you're still not a cloud engineer is because you don't know what good looks like. And that's not your fault. If you've never worked in cloud engineering or a cloud or tech environment, how would you even know? How would you know if your project is good enough? How would you know if your CV is strong enough? How would you know if your GitHub README is clear enough? How would you know if your LinkedIn is positioned correctly? How would you know if your interview answer sounds junior? You don't know what you don't know. So what happens? You just start guessing. You build what YouTube tells you to build. You write your CV the way you think it should. You apply for the roles you think that make sense. You practice interviews in your head. And then when it doesn't work, you have no idea. And that is exhausting because you're putting in the effort, but you're not getting any direction. And this is why self-studying can be very painful. It's not that self-studying doesn't work. Of course it can work, but self-studying without feedback means that you stay wrong for a very, very long time. You can spend months building projects that don't create any trust, months applying with a weak CV, months preparing for interviews the wrong way, months learning things that don't matter. And because nobody's correcting you, you think you're making progress until the market tells you otherwise. Now, the ninth reason that you're still not a cloud engineer is because you are trying to avoid the risk. You don't want to waste money. You don't want to waste time. You don't want to invest in the wrong thing. You don't want to choose the wrong path, and you don't want to fail. And I understand that. That's very normal. But here is what most people don't even realize. Doing nothing is not safe. Staying in the same job is not risk-free. Self-studying randomly for another year is not risk-free. Waiting until you feel ready is not risk-free. Because every month that you stay stuck is actually a cost. And that cost might be money. It might be income you could have earned. It might be time. It might be confidence. It might be another job. It might be another year in a job that you don't like. It might be another year feeling like you're capable of more, but not doing anything about it. People obsess over the risk of changing, but they ignore the risk of staying the same. And sometimes staying the same is the bigger risk, because at least when you take action, you get feedback. When you stay still, you just get older. The 10th reason that you're still not a cloud engineer is because you haven't made the identity switch yet. You still see yourself as someone trying to learn cloud, not someone who's becoming a cloud engineer. And that sounds small, but it changes everything. A person trying to learn cloud watches videos. A person becoming a cloud engineer builds systems. A person trying to learn cloud takes notes. A person becoming a cloud engineer is documenting projects. A person trying to learn cloud waits until they feel ready. A person becoming a cloud engineer applies, gets feedback, and improves. A person trying to learn cloud hides. A person becoming cloud engineer shows proof. A person trying to learn cloud says, I am not ready. A person becoming a cloud engineer says, what do I need to prove next? We describe people by what they do. So if someone looked at your last 30 days, what would they see? Would they see someone becoming a cloud engineer or someone who's just watching cloud content? That's a big question because your calendar tells you the truth. Your GitHub tells you the truth. Your LinkedIn tells you the truth. Your CVs tell you the truth. Your applications tell you the truth. Your actions are voting for who you want to become. So if you say that you want to become a cloud engineer, but your actions don't prove it yet, that's obviously a gap. And that gap is your responsibility to close. So here is a framework that I want you to remember. Information does not get you hired. Information has to move through a chain. Information becomes action. Action creates feedback. Feedback improves skill. Skill creates proof. Trust creates interviews. Interviews create offers. That is the chain. Most people stop at the information. They watch the video, they understand the roadmap, they feel motivated, and then nothing happens. So they never reach action, which means they never get feedback, which means their skill doesn't improve properly, which means that they don't create the proof, which means the market doesn't trust them, which means no interviews, which also means no job. So they say cloud is too competitive. Maybe it is, but also maybe you've never actually moved through the chain. You stayed at the safest level, information. And that's why you're still not a cloud engineer. It's not because you can't do it. It's because you haven't turned all of this learning into proof just yet. So what should you actually do? Here's the most practical plan. Firstly, pick one target role, not 5. 1, cloud engineer, junior support engineer, cloud infrastructure engineer, platform engineer, DevOps engineer. It doesn't really matter. The key thing that matters is that you pick one primary role. Secondly, collect 20 job descriptions. Look at the repeated skills. Is it AWS? Is it Terraform? Is it CloudWatch? Is it pipelines? Is it security? Those repeated skills become your roadmap. Thirdly, build one serious project, not 10 random projects. One serious project. A secure AWS architecture, a Terraform deployment, right? Something that looks like a real business problem. Fourth, document it properly. Problem, requirements, architecture, decisions, what broke, how you fixed it, production improvements, business value. Fifth, turn that into market proof. GitHub README, architecture, Loom walkthrough, LinkedIn post, CV, right? Interview story. Sixth, apply with a system. Track the applications, use role-specific CVs, follow up, message recruiters, improve based on responses. Seventh, practice interviews before the real interview. Explain your projects out loud, record yourself, use AI voice mode, ask it to challenge your architecture. Practice until you can explain everything very clearly without hiding behind the buzzwords. That's how you move, not by watching more videos, but by turning every piece of learning into actual proof. And by the way, if you want my help to figure this out, I've got a free school community, all linked below in the description. You can check it out right here. You'll get free cloud career resources in there. There's student wins, roadmaps, everything that you can think of, and examples of what it actually looks like to start moving properly. And then we'll also have my paid VIP premium program. We've got all my students. We've got live coaching calls. We've got complete roadmap, everything that you need to get hired inside here. So if you're interested in becoming a cloud engineer in 2026 and you need my help to land the role, then all you have to do is click the links in the description below. You have access to both the free community and the VIP program where you can book a call with my trusted advisors and we'll walk you through how the program works and see if you are the right fit for us. But even if you don't, the point is very simple. Don't just watch this video to feel motivated. Please take one action today. Pick a role, fix a CV, build the project, post a walkthrough, apply for the job, book the mock interview. Do something that creates the proof. Because if this video becomes another thing that you've watched and you didn't use, then it becomes part of the problem. Now, here's the uncomfortable truth. Some of you already know what to do. You just don't want to face the part that exposes you. You know you need to build the projects, but projects expose whether you actually understand the work. You know you need to apply, but applications expose whether your proof is strong enough. You know you need to practice interviews, but interviews expose whether you explain yourself well enough. You know you need feedback, but feedback exposes what you've been doing wrong. And that's why you avoid it. It's not because you're lazy, it's because exposure is uncomfortable. And that exposure is what actually gets you hired. You cannot become a cloud engineer in hiding. You cannot hide behind certs forever. You can't hide behind tutorials forever. You can't hide behind the research forever. At some point, the work has to leave your head and enter the market. And when it does, the market will tell you what's real. And I know that's scary, but it's also how you win. So if you're watching this video and you think, okay, I get it. I need to stop guessing, but I generally don't know what to fix first. And that's exactly what we help inside of my Cloud Engineering Academy, because most people don't need more random information, right? They need a system, a roadmap, a project, coaching, CV feedback, positioning, LinkedIn and GitHub feedback as well, interview preparation, accountability, and support until they get hired. Now, inside of my academy, we help you build the skills, turn those skills into real cloud project proofs, package the proof properly, apply for the right roles, and prepare for interviews so you can actually explain what you built, not memorize services, videos, not collect more certs, not follow tutorials, but become the actual kind of person that companies can trust with their cloud infrastructure. So if you're serious about landing a cloud role in 2026, again, click the link below. Watch the free training video. You can go right here, watch this video, and book a call with my team below. We'll look at where you are right now, what you've tried, and what's keeping you stuck, and whether we can help you get hired. And if we can, we'll show you the path. And if we cannot, no hard feelings. But if you've been watching my videos for months and nothing has changed, then ask yourself a question: how much longer are you going to keep doing the same thing and expect different results? So why are you still not a cloud engineer in 2026? It's probably not because you're not capable, probably not because you're not smart enough, probably not because the cloud is dead, probably not because AI took the jobs, right? It's probably because you haven't turned your learning into proof yet. You've consumed it, but not implemented. You've studied, but not tested yourself. You've prepared, but not exposed yourself enough. You've collected information, but not built enough trust. And that can change, but it can only change when your actions change as well. So don't close this video and go back to the same old patterns that you've been in. Take one step, build something, fix something, apply somewhere, ask for feedback, practice the interviews, show your work, move, because the industry is not waiting for you. AI is not waiting, the job market is not waiting, your life is not waiting, and nobody's coming to save you. But you can decide today that you are done being someone who's just learning cloud and you're ready to become someone the market can actually trust. As always, I'm rooting for you. Go and become undeniable.